You know, life goes by so fast. And it goes by faster as you get older. I mean, I'm sure you remember when you were 15 and you couldn't wait until your 16th birthday to get your learner's permit or to get your driver's license or to be able to order a drink in a restaurant. You know, you waited for those milestones. And then you blink and somebody is sending you an AARP card. You don't know how it happens. But if the journey that you've made has been a wonderful journey, and every journey has, you know, some ups and downs in it, but generally speaking, you feel as if your footprint is a reasonable one, then it's fun and you just want to keep going. You say you just don't want to stop that great feeling, which is why we're doing Judy Justice.
Order, all rise.
Judge Judy premiered back in 1996 and soon made former prosecutor and Manhattan Family Court Judge Judy Sheindlin one of the most beloved figures on daytime television.
I've been doing this for almost 50 years, so it's not the first time that I've had to explain this to somebody.
Judy served for an unprecedented 7,282 episodes over 25 seasons, and in 2019, she was awarded a Daytime Emmy for Lifetime Achievement.
I have a profession that's always been my passion. And tonight I have this lovely honor which says that I've done my job well.
But after a quarter century of laying down the law, the final episode of Judge Judy aired earlier this year on July 23rd.
Your case is dismissed. We're finished. Goodbye. Goodbye. Adios. Farewell. Had a good time. Thanks a million. It was a great run. Changed my life. I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad because I had another adventure awaiting. And I think the time was right. It was 25 years. It was a nice round number. And we left on top, which is perfect. We didn't write it down, which is, I think, why, and I hope why, Amazon had the confidence in me to say, let's do it in streaming. Let's let you do your thing in a fresh version with new people, and I'm excited.
The fresh version is titled Judy Justice, and one of the new people happens to be one of Judy's 13 grandchildren, Sarah Rose.
It's actually a really funny story. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents in Florida during the first quarantine when COVID first happened and no one really knew what was going on. And that's when she was working on transitioning from broadcast to streaming, and all of this was getting done. During that time, she was letting me know about the new format and the addition of a stenographer and a new bailiff and a law clerk, and just explaining the new layout to me. And I said, that sounds great. I'm so excited for you, for your new next chapter. And she said, I'm so glad you think so, because it's you, the law clerk. And I said, okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Judy Justice also features a brand new bailiff, Kevin Rasco, who had already been a part of the judge's inner circle.
Well, I was working with Judy for 3 or 4 years with her personal bodyguard on the other show she had, and I was being with her for 3 or 4 years, and I was asked, hey, would you mind being a bailiff for the new show? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. She's awesome. You know, working with her, she makes your job easy. You know how you work with someone and just warm and just makes your job easy, and just felt right into place, felt right at home here.
Rounding out the cast, longtime court reporter Whitney Kumar was tapped to be the show's stenographer.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch the show, and especially as being a court reporter, I mean, we all know who Judge Judy is. I mean, she's a legend. So when I got asked to do this show, it was so exciting because I've worked with so many judges all over California. So this by far has been the most fun and entertaining job I've ever had.
You talk, I finish. That's the rule.
Judy Justice premiered on Amazon's IMDb TV on November 1st, less than 2 weeks after Judy's 79th birthday.
Do you understand? Is not an answer.
And while many her age might welcome retirement, her fans will be happy to know she never gave it a second thought.
If you retire and you're still feeling okay, you have to retire to do something, to play golf, to play tennis, to play mahjong, to play backgammon, to go into volunteer work, to do something. You rewire. And I honestly couldn't think of anything that I wanted to do more on a fuller basis. I mean, I can play gin for 2 hours and still have this job. So this opportunity came along and I said, well, it's not that it's a 9 to 5, 5-day-a-week job that I have to commit to. I really haven't had that in a quarter of a century. And the number of episodes that we're producing for Amazon is 120 original episodes. And I know that sounds a lot. It's probably the biggest streaming order of any order so far. But for us, we have a rhythm. We are able to do that. Do I look like I need any help from you?
Sorry.
They had interviewed the children, and the children wished to remain with their father because their mother is a nut. I like to think of this program as a story that has a once upon a time and at the end. And in between, I have to show the audience what the story is, how it makes sense, what the just outcome is, how to massage the law sometimes to make the right outcome happen, which is justice. I hope most of the time I'm right.
Judy and her husband Jerry were married in 1977. 13 years later, they divorced in 1990, but were remarried the following year. So today, they've enjoyed roughly 44 years of marriage, thanks in part to a simple rule that Judy says goes both ways. Keep a reasonable physique or you're out the door.
Oh, reasonable, this figure. Well, that's true. We're both very surface people when it comes to that. You know, if you fall instantaneously for somebody, that means that there's a physical attraction. And people age, people, they change. You could either do it gracefully or you could say, I give up. And for myself, I said, I choose to not give up. I choose to stay fit. So don't even think about anything but looking as good as you can possibly look at this stage in your life. I don't have to tell him that more than once. He loves himself desperately. And I actually think Jerry is almost 10 years older than I am, but I think his goal is to outlive me. He takes very good care of himself, and good for him. Because, if you don't take care of yourself, who will?
Judy has long been one of the most famous and highest paid hosts on daytime television, but she's never had a hard time staying grounded.
I like to think I'm grounded, but I actually live the majority of my life buying on the sale rack, not going into Neiman's, Bergdorf's, and Saks because I couldn't afford that. There was no point in window shopping. Somebody once caught me early on when I was doing the show in Filene's basement in Boston. We were doing something, and I was going through the underwear rack and the underwear bins in Filene's basement. It was force of habit. Could I afford to buy 3 pairs of panties for $10? Yeah, but 3 for $2 sounded much better if you could find ones that you like. That sort of stuff is force of habit. So. And there's an interesting caveat to that. And that is, once you have things that you longed for or wanted when you couldn't have them, they no longer become important. The important things become things that cannot be achieved monetarily. You want to be able to get up every morning and put on your underpants without holding on to the side of the nightstand. that becomes important. So you have different priorities.
With Judy Justice beginning to stream this month, the Honorable Judge is clearly showing no signs of slowing down.
So if you have parents, do you think they watch me?
Like they watch you.
Of course they do. So you don't want to embarrass yourself, right?
And it's safe to say Judy's incredible success has far surpassed anything she could have hoped for 25 years ago.
Well, I was hoping that my husband and I would be able to save enough money to afford a 2-bedroom apartment, maybe 1 block off the beach in Florida, as a retirement place. You know, we were civil servants. We had 5 kids. They were all educated. Most went to graduate school. We tried to see to it that they weren't burdened with a whole lot of debt. So our financial expectations were fine. We were really fine. So I was hoping that we would have maybe a 3 or 4 year run, because most things in television fail. So those were my expectations. And then, as we said in the beginning of this interview, life happens. Passes by, and all of a sudden you pass a mirror and you say, who was that invaded my body? Who is that person? But you do it sort of joyfully, if it's been good. And this business has been very good to me. I just say it was a good journey. I know that it hasn't been a perfect journey. I don't think anybody can say that they've had a perfect journey. But it's been a productive journey. I've certainly had fun in the journey. And I'm going to continue to have fun in the journey. Because as long as you're here, you might as well have fun. While we hope what's on the other side is fun, nobody's quite sure about that. So I would suggest to everyone that they try to make the best of every day. Whether at work or play or friends or whatever, you're supposed to try to get the most out of every day. And that becomes so much more meaningful as you get older.